everyone, it's Amber, and today I'm going to be doing my July wrap-up. This month I read 6 books, which is one less than the most books that I've ever read in a month, and I think the most books that I ever read in the month was July of last year, so I'm one book behind. But I do have a pretty large wrap-up for you guys today, so I'm super excited to talk to you guys about all of these books. July was the month of a 24-hour readathon that I participated in and the booktubeathon, so those two things did contribute to a lot of my monthly reading, but I did actually read a lot this month regardless of those two little readathons that I participated in. So the first book that I finished this month, I started in June, but I finished it in July, and that is Blue Lily, Lily Blue by Maggie Stiefvater. I absolutely love this series. It now resides in a very special portion of my heart, and I just really love this book series now, and it's become one of my favorite book series of all time. I just love the characters. You feel like these characters are your friends, and you really get to know them, and the story is so magical and so believable but so out there that it just makes you feel like there really is like this magic in the world. And you look at the forest outside and you think of like caves water, and you just think of all these characters and this magical world that Maggie Stiefvater created within our own world, and it's just so magical and so beautiful to me, and the writing style was wonderful, and I just really loved this series. And another thing about this series was that me loving it was such a surprise to me, because the first thing I read from Maggie Stiefvater was Shiver, and I really was not that big of a fan of it because of like the insta-love. This series was so different and so unique and just so captivating and beautiful and just wonderful, and I just found myself completely immersed in the story, and I just really love this book series, and it now is one of my favorites of all time, and I already can't wait to reread it because I already miss the characters. Like, Gansey is my phone background, so we'll just take a moment. I don't know who drew this art, but it's beautiful and I absolutely love it. I highly recommend it. I of course gave this 5 out of 5 stars. This is one of my favorites in the series. I think that it just gets better as it goes on, and I just adore it. I just adore it. The next book that I finished in the month of July is Love and Gelato, which I don't have on me because I borrowed this from the library. This is my first time borrowing a book from the library in a very long time, and I really enjoyed Love and Gelato. I don't think it's anything that connected with me that much, and it wasn't too memorable for me. It really was a great summary 3-star read, and I really liked it. It was about this girl who travels to Italy after her mother dies of cancer, and her mom wants her to go to Italy to live with this guy that she was friends with and had like a little romance with when she was in Italy studying photography. It talks a lot about photography. The main character also finds this little like journal that her mother left behind, and she kind of goes through it and does some of the things that her mom did when she was in Italy. It was just a fun summary read, and I recommend it, and I really liked it, and I liked the way it painted Italy, and I think it was really good. But it definitely wasn't something that has stuck with me. I feel like it was just like a beachy, nice read. The next book that I read this month and completed was Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which I actually did start around this time last summer, and I only got halfway through it before the school year hit, and I just like got so busy that I completely forgot that I was reading it. But I restarted it this summer and read the entire thing, and I listened to the audiobook, and this is my first experience listening to the audiobooks for Harry Potter, which are fantastic, and I highly recommend them. Jim Dale does a great job. But I ended up going to a used bookstore and buying a beat-up copy of all the Harry Potters that they had there. They only had 1, 3, and 5 there, so I bought those so that I could like have ones with like a broken spine, so I didn't have to worry about reading it, because this one is so long. This is the longest Harry Potter book, and it's also the longest book I've ever read at this point now. It's just so long. I just didn't want to break the spine of my beautiful Hogwarts house copies, because part of the reason I really wanted those copies was because they make Hogwarts on the spine, and I didn't want to break the spine and like ruin it. So call me crazy, but I went to the used bookstore and got these for like $1 each, and I love Harry Potter, of course, and I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. For the 24-hour readathon that I did, I read most of The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater, and this book was so good. It just was such a satisfying conclusion to the series and to these characters, and it was just so perfect, and it ended in such a great way, and I just loved it so much. It was just so satisfying, and I was expecting it to completely destroy me and completely like rip my heart out and step on it, and it did that, but it also really did it in the best way humanly possible, and it was so satisfying, and I just loved it. And let the record be shown that I do not cry during books or during movies or anything, but I cried at the end of this book, and I have mascara stains on the back of it to prove it to you guys. You see that? That is mascara from me crying while reading the book. I've explained the series a lot on my channel, so I'm just going to briefly summarize it. I also have a review for the first book, which I explain what the series is about, but if you guys don't know, the series follows and starts out with this girl named Blue, and she's the only non-psychic in a family of psychics. And it also follows these boys. One of them is Gansey, and he's trying to find this dead Welsh king, and he brings the rest of them along with him, and eventually Blue as well, to go find this dead Welsh king, and this king will grant you a wish if you wake him. It follows their whole journey on trying to find this king, and it's just so much more than that. It has like tarot cards and like psychics, and it's just very atmospheric and very magical and mystical, and it's magical realism. It's just so good. And I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars if you guys couldn't already tell. The next book I read this month was Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. I started this at the very beginning of the month, and then I finished it a couple days ago. This took me a little while to get into, if I'm being honest, but I did really end up enjoying it, and I read the rest of it for the booktubeathon, and I really, really liked it. It was such a fun summery read. This is not my favorite Morgan Matson book. My favorite is still The Unexpected Everything, and I'm waiting for something to beat that because that one was so good, and I just love it so much. And I still think about it, and I read it like a year ago. If you don't know what this book is about, it's very hyped, so I'd be surprised if you didn't. But if you don't know what it's about this girl named Emily who has this best friend named Salone, who's kind of like always in the spotlight, and Salone disappears for the summer and leaves her this list, kind of like a bucket list of things that she should accomplish over the summer when she's gone, and Emily has to do all these things, and they all are things that kind of scare her. Like there's like kiss a stranger, go skinny dipping, steal something, break something, so there's like a bunch of things on here, but you are kind of with her on this journey of kind of finding herself through doing these things and meeting all these really cool people, and it's just a really, really fun summery read, and I really enjoyed it, and I gave it 4 stars. I really liked it. The last book that I finished this month was We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, and this book I read in a day. I read it in 2 sittings, and it was so good, but I was also so confused throughout the process of reading it. I am not supposed to give a summary because I don't want to spoil anything, and I knew absolutely nothing going into this book, and I think that's the best way to go into it. But this book was so good. It was very summery. I haven't ever read anything that's like this before, and I really enjoyed this as my first experience reading something like this. It's just very plot twisty. You're just dropped in this situation. You kind of have to like figure out everything. It was really, really good, and I gave it 4 stars, and it was enjoyable, and I really liked it. It like blew my mind, and it was very good, but I was very confused at the end, and I was like, my mind was just blown. I finished it yesterday, so I'm still kind of like, what? But it was really good. I would recommend this. There's an airplane. Why do airplanes always decide to fly above me when I'm filming? So those are all the books that I finished this month, but I did want to talk to you guys about books that I started and didn't finish this month as well, because I did start some books that I haven't finished yet. The first one of those being Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, of course, because after reading Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, I thought that I would be able to wait until reading this, but I was mistaken. No, I had to read it like right after, so I did. I'm on page 418 of this book, and I've been bouncing back and forth between physically reading it and listening to the audiobook, and I'm loving it so much. I feel like there are certain parts of the books and certain aspects of the characters that the movies just didn't capture. The movies are amazing, and I grew up with the movies and I love them like with all my heart, but I feel like there are certain aspects of the characters that aren't fully presented in the movies, and I just love reading about that in the books, and it's just so good. I just enjoy the book so much. It's so good, and I'm loving this book, and I'm almost done, but I don't want to finish it because I don't want to finish the series. I just don't. Anyway, I'm really enjoying this. The next book that I started but didn't finish was Star-Crossed by Josephine Angelini. I read a chapter of this, so I didn't really read anything significant in it. This is about, like, as far as I know, it's like about like Greek gods and like related stuff to that, but I don't really know 100%. I'm interested to find out. It seems like kind of more like a paranormal romance type of thing that's kind of like one of those addicting books, so I'm enjoying it so far, but then I got distracted. by Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo, and I got about 120 pages into this book. And I've been really enjoying it so far, and I've been bouncing back and forth again between the audiobook and the physical book, and I've been really liking it, so I'm excited to get further into this series and this book and this world, and then eventually be able to read Six of Crows, because that is why I'm kind of reading this series, because I've heard that you should read this before Six of Crows. But I heard that you'll enjoy it more if you read this first, so I listened to everyone and that's what I'm gonna do. So these are all the books that I started and or finished during the month of July, and I'm really proud of myself because I read 6 books in total and started 3 other ones other than the 6 that I finished. And I also read a good mix of audiobooks and physical books, and it's been a very good reading month for me. I had a lot of high star ratings and I didn't DNF anything or rate anything less than 3 stars, so I'm super happy with my wrap up this month. So that is about it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please feel free to give it a thumbs up, and also comment down below what you guys read this month, because I would definitely love to hear about that. And you can also subscribe down below if you want to see more of my videos, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!